Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your Love Shorty, and today we're going to review Sainted Love. And I'm not going to sing Sainted Love, even though every time I say Sainted Love, I feel like I should do. There's a lot going on in this comic book. I'm going to try my best to get through as quick as I can. We may go over a little bit. We'll see how it goes, see how fast I can talk. Because it's a comic book that's about a lot of things, and quite often in this kind of situation, there's a lot going on in it. I'm probably going to spend a lot of time talking about content, as well as context and what makes it good, what makes it bad, that kind of thing, because what it's about is really important. What it is about is science fiction, pugilism. It's also extremely queer and very horny, and I am not overselling that at all. This is not me trying to big something up and then you're going to get it disappointed. It is extremely horny and very queer. Both these two things are very important to the story. It actually really matters to characterization and what's going on. So let's first of all delve into just some of the loose things about like what this comic book is good at, and then we'll get into how it very effectively portrays them. First off, it's fantastic when it comes to the writing. There's this rather wonderful bit after an argument with our two main characters, where we get a back and forwards between them, basically one working heavy bag, one figuring out how his time travel device will work, and you have this moment to actually have a very unusual kind of dialogue, even though they're in separate rooms, but they're clearly talking about the same kind of subject to themselves, and actually using this time period to reflect on what's been going on, why they are miserable, why they might be frustrated with each other, but also with themselves, what they want to do to make things better. It's really nice early setting piece to give you a sense of what's going on. It also very nicely shows some things I love about the artwork, because this is great artwork. It is simple and smooth and elegant. It does not get tied into detail, but in a way which is very effective. My thought when I was reading it was style over substance, but I think it is that, but without it being a negative thing. It is exceptionally stylish, and it uses this, and it uses tropes of sci-fi and comic book writing and art to basically stop having to tell you every little thing. When I say tell you, I mean show you a little bit through artwork, you get what I mean. Basically, we have this huge top-of-the-line fanciful science fiction thing going on where he's creating a time travel device, but mostly we see him talking about it and working out a matter, occasionally pressing a button, and then we see the final thing, which is mostly just a giant orb or potentially passageway. We don't get entire pages or fancy steampunk technology or anything like that. We just trust that he knows what he's talking about. He does a very, very good job talking about uncertainty principle and how it affects to time travel theory, but he does it in such a way that is easily accessible. We also have a pugilist who is a big, beefy man who is a very skilled combatant, but when we see him in fights, it is simple. When we see him working out, it is more over-the-top kind of posturing. All of this is to show that he is fantastic in a fight, and when he does get in fights, he wins them in effective ways against multiple opponents, using kind of comic booky and also cartoony tropes to show how proficient he is. Again, it means we get the stylistic choices to show this the way it does, but we don't get far too much extra stuff thrown in there just for the sake of doing it. And don't get me wrong, I'm a man who likes my detail. I really do enjoy getting lost in this kind of thing. But next time I'm reading a comic book and he's doing it because they don't have a story, do not have good characterization, I think I'm going to notice it a lot more because of this. It does such a good job with it. Right, on to the actual story now, and here we're going to get into some stuff, and I really hope you're all okay with that. I'm going to be talking about some gay sex stuff here, and if not, and if you're one of these people who right now be in the comment section, I wouldn't think so. I think I've done a fairly good job of curating the 3 dozen people who watch my videos, that they're all kind of cool. But if you are one of these people, just stop for a second and think to yourself, have I read Frank Miller's Sin City at any point? Have I been okay with the gratuitous nudity and oodles of sex scenes? And if the answer to that is yes, but you're not okay with this, I want you to ask yourself why. Just for a second, think about, like, are you worried that it's being shoved down your throat but you weren't when it was straight? And if so, are you okay with it being straight but not if it's gay? Does it offend you a little bit if it's one or the other? And if this is the case, what do you think it's like for queer people to be absolutely bombarded with nothing but straight and hetero things? This exists for a reason. It is basically a queer romance, a queer love story. It is also, like I said, exceptionally horny, and it leans into this quite effectively to show that there is different relationships people can have within queer spaces rather than much more traditional ones. As a hetero man, I have a very traditional relationship. My friends think it's a bit weird sometimes that I absolutely do not want kids and do not want to get married, even though I'm in my mid-40s, and it's never something I wanted. But the relationships on display here are very different, even from that, on like a different level, and they need to be shown in their gratuitousness to show you what it is like to live in that space. It is very eye-opening if you're not into it, if you're not part of that culture, but it is great to see it. We are living in a peak era for queer comic books, and I don't mean that because Marvel and DC occasionally have a month worth of stuff with shiny covers, or Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn have an ongoing kind of thing. A lot of the queer people don't. I mean because queer creators can actually go to proper companies like Vault Comics and get this kind of story done in the exact way that it needs to be done to be authentically queer, to be unapologetically queer. And that is something which I think needs to happen. I watched a few movies and I read books and TV shows where this kind of thing is becoming more and more common, and it's really nice to see it in comic books because their relationship is fraught. They have some boundaries and some things which they're not willing to do, some things which they want to embrace, but they're different people and not everyone is part of a homogenous group, and this conflict is really important. It gives a chance to show growth. This is a love story. They are together, but it's not sunshine and roses. It's not roast into glasses. Everything has a little issue to it, and that's the way the world is. It is also set in two different time periods. Again, it's time travel comic book. It's early 20th century and mid 20th century. Both of these times there is a queer culture out there, quite an effective, large one. But quite often in media, in fiction, this is not shown to be the way it actually was. People will tell you, oh yeah, but it's historically inaccurate to put all this kind of stuff in there. Simply because the history is written by people who don't write about this kind of thing. Fiction is written by the people who don't write about this kind of thing. Now that these voices are here and they're writing about it, you should embrace it. It is part of our culture, not just theirs. Stop thinking of it in terms of us and them and everything will be slightly better. Enjoy it, because this erasure is a bit of an issue, and showing it full frontal and 100% embracing it is brilliant. And it's done with such style and panache. And also, there's a secret society in it, which is just really cool too. There's so much going on. I absolutely loved it. I have gone well over. Just looked at how much I've been talking, so I'm going to wrap it up now. But I'm going to wrap up by saying it is fantastic. It is not just fantastic because it's a queer comic book or because it's very horny. It's fantastic because those things, and it's cool sci-fi, and it's got time travel in there, and it's dealing out with issues of actual history too. All of these things together, and it looks fantastic and is a great read. So I hope if you pick up a copy, you're going to enjoy it as much as I do. And really, please, don't bother the comments if you're going to be a dick about it. Until I see you again, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye.